But it's a Rover. Yeah, but it's a GTI. Hello. Right, I'm back again in my garage with this pink wall, which looks lovely as I stand next to it. Anyway, enough of this. So this week, spoilers ahead, because spoiler, look at that bad boy. It's in black, which is not red, so it doesn't match what colour the car is. A little scuffed, but then again, you know, it's like me, a bit rough. I'm not rough. I'm very gentle. Look how smooth these hands are. These are piano playing hands, not working hands. That's why this is also difficult for me. Pushing paper around, on the other hand, what was it? No, do you remember in Predator with Schwarzenegger? Dylan, what they got you doing now? Pushing pencils around? That's me. Except I wasn't like badass beforehand. I was just normal, just an ass. This has not gone the way I thought it was going to be, but I got a spoiler. And then once this is attached to the car, maybe I will look a little bit like it. Anyway, so still has brake light in the back. This particular one actually says MG ZR with tape. So I don't think that's how they came. If not, or if they did, fair play. If not, then somebody has painstakingly taken a piece of tape and scored out MG ZR written into it, which hopefully if I bring this close, you might be able to see. Look, you can see my eyes through it. It's in reverse because I'm using my front-facing camera so I can see what's going on. The light should work, has the connector attached to it. Still got some of the residue left over from the gaskets that were there, but I'm sure as you saw when I was fixing the leak in the car beforehand, I had to sort of do my own gasket fix because you can't get those gaskets anymore. You might be able to get them from MG Rovers or something like that. However, the Gorilla tape that I use, the clear tape, created a seal between the two so the fluid couldn't get through, and it was elasticy enough so that the spoiler or the existing roof spoiler would sit on better. This particular one is a Gen 1 spoiler, which means it doesn't have the bar running through the middle of it. They did say that it had a little bit of structural weakness. However, I don't care. I just really want to put one on. The fact that it's black means that it will match, I suppose, technically nothing because the car is red. However, the front bumper, based on some previous history, I think it had a little bit of an argument with a wall at some point, and so it actually hasn't got the GTI bumper on it because the GTI bumper should have the rubber stripping in red, just like the MGs do. However, it's sort of like that rubbishy plastic that you get on just the normal Rovers. So my thoughts, in order to tie it all together, is going to be spoiler, black, take off those rubbing strips, get them painted the same black, do the same with the side rubbing strips, and then do the same with the rear rubbing strips. And then you'll have what looks like the ancillaries. Ancillaries might be the right word. They'll be in black, so at least then it will match, and it will sort of all go together as one. And then if you'd have seen in my previous video, I set it up so that I had those Lexus style rear lights. So I am very slowly transforming this vehicle into a budget max power from, I guess it will be 2001 because they stopped these bad boys being made in 2001. Yeah, let's go through the process of taking the one that's on off and then putting this one that's off on. Should be quite quick and simple, he says. I'm also going to attempt to do this in a relative like live video, so you'll watch me do it as I do it. That probably won't happen because I'm going to run into issues. Let's be honest, I will run into issues. So let's move on to the next step now, which involves me having to go outside where, once again, I'm in the fens, so it's just a little bit damp. Let's go outside. Right, you return to me, recording in 0.6, which, as we all know, is the best angle to record anything on your telephone. So I was going to attempt to do this live, but I think what I'll end up doing is bit by bit, piece by piece, bit by bit, because it involves me taking off some trim and doing a few things, and I don't really want people to watch me struggle doing that because embarrassed. Anyway, so In fact, before I move on to anything else, you may see that these few bits of trim here just pulled down. That's because I had some leakage happening with the Rover, because just like all of them, they tend to rust around the call it the boot struts? No, they're the boot struts, the boot hinges. And yeah, my car needed some tenner for men, so it's been gumped up for the time being, but it is ultimately going to have to get welded, so it's just a temporary fix at the moment, but at least it stopped the headlining from getting damp, which is good because I don't really want it to smell musty. Anyway, what we're going to have to do is I need to get the old screwdriver set out so that I can take off this piece of trim, this piece of trim, once they're out, because there's two bolts, so one here and one here. Take them out, and obviously the bolt that usually holds at the parcel shaft, which doesn't, because, well, as you can see here, it's just flopping around. Once I've taken these out, I can get this piece off, which I believe it's held in with these two screws, and then it's just clips. Take them down, and then it should be 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts and a clip, which is what connects that rear light here. So you'll return to me in a moment once I've taken these off and we've exposed these bolts. So let's do it. Right, and welcome back. I've taken these clips off, which is nice and easy, which has exposed the 4 bolts. So we've got one here, one here, one here, and one here. These are 10 mils. I've got my 10 mil socket on here, and then all we have to do, very easily, because they don't seem to be on particularly difficult, is undo them. Oh, you're a little firmer. Let's get you undone. Let's get you undone a bit. And I'm going to have to get this unclipped as well, which is the connector for the rear brake light, which should clip out here. Should be a little push bit, which I can do there. So let me get that unclipped, get these taken off, and then I'll show this being removed. And hopefully you could see me throughout that, because I'm not looking at the monitor. See you in a minute. Woo! And I'm back. Right, so I have undone the bolts on the back, which means that this can now be lifted off. Now, thanks to the magic of TV, I've already unhooked the cables from behind it, and all I've got to do now, besides walk really close to the camera, is put that on the floor, come back, grab my new spoiler, which once I've given this a quick little bit of a clean, I need to re-waterproof one of these holes and get the cable that's on here thread through that hole. This, in fact, I'll tell you what, let me put that cable in there now, just so it's out of the way. You go down there, and you get in there, and then this is going to line up with a couple of the holes that we've got in here. I'll end up sitting on the back like that, a little higher up, over there. Can I let go of it? No, I can't, not yet. Let me get some bolts into it, let me get it waterproofed, get some bolts into it, and then we'll check out how it looks once I've got it all bolted up and plugged in. See you in a minute. Right, I have essentially, not essentially, I have. So I've bolted everything back in, here, 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 and here. I haven't put the trim back up, which I am going to do in a moment. What I have found, though, is the connector that comes from the car and the connector that goes to the rear light on this particular spoiler are different. So I'm either going to have to remove the connector from the one that's on here and splice it in so that I can connect the two together, or what I'm probably going to do, because I don't want to do that to that particular one, is I'm going to go and just get whatever replacement one for that is to attach onto here, so that they then can become interchangeable. However, proof is in the pudding. Let's close that. And here we have it, the finished spoiler. This is what it looks like at the moment. Flows in quite nicely. I like the way that it looks. I think I'm going to have to do a little bit more fettling, because this is sitting up high, and that's because there's something, it appears to be getting in the way of this bit here. It might be because I'm using my own version of waterproofing as opposed to the actual gasket that you're supposed to use, because as you may have seen in a previous video, I was getting a leak coming through, and you can see it bulges up slightly in the middle. So what I'm going to have to do is figure out a way to fix that. Most likely, I'm thinking if I buy the same, because the gaskets that they used on here was the same material that they did on the rear lights. So when I swap out the rear lights, which you'll see in a later video, I'll take part of the old gasket from here, because because I've got new ones for the lights, and then use them on here. Unless I can actually get hold of the gaskets, in which case I will do. You can see it's black over the red. I'm going to pretend that it matches in with the weather stripping because that's black. What I said previously is on the front you've got rubbing strips, and around the bumper you've got rubbing strips. If I get these changed to black, then it should blend in nicely with here and here. I don't think it's too out of place. I feel like it does match quite nicely. It does need a bit of a buff and a polish and a clean because there's some scratches on it, as you can see just here. Whether I can get away with Tika or whether I'm going to have to do the full proper job, but then if I have to do the full proper job and then make it look neat and presentable, what's the point in keeping it black? Maybe I should paint it red so that it matches the car, but then again the car needs a bit of a refresh of paint anywho, so I'm sure if I do that then it won't exactly colour match what I've got here, because I may as well attempt to do it myself. Or I could pay somebody to do it. We'll see how I feel. We'll see how flushed with cash I am, which is probably not. So for the time being, we'll have to stick with this. But in a later video, when you watch me swap these lights out, I'll make that final fettlement and adjustment to here. And I just need to get that plastic clip so that I can get the light working on the back of it. And yeah, I'm quite happy with how it's turned out. Thank you very much for taking the time today to watch me install this spoiler. Quite straightforward and easy job, really. If I had those little felt things, it would have been done right the first time. However, I've got to do it again. I mean, they do say if you want a job done right, you might as well do it 2-3 times, because, you know, it's 2-3 times the fun. Yeah, so thank you very much for watching. Please like, please subscribe, please leave a comment. If you've got any advice and recommendation, or there's something you'd like to see me do, or something that would be worthwhile me doing to the car to make it look better, or handle better, or perform better, whatever it may be, let me know. I do appreciate feedback and just people letting me know if they've enjoyed it or not. I'll see you guys in the next one. Ta-ra.